Um, Constable Cheater, can you explain to me how or what constitutes um, a civil matter? Because, like I said, this this um, this matter, I have been defrauded $1,000. Well, I thought I was hiring a lawyer. I signed a retainer agreement, gave him the money. I don't understand how this is a civil matter when I found the lawyers because I've been getting a lot of ads on Facebook about lawyers. So I contacted one and they sent me a retainer agreement. I sent them the $1,000 and now I find out that the law firm may not exist and that the lawyer with the Law Society, although registered, is not practicing. So, and OPP is not willing to do anything about it. Can you explain to me how this is a civil matter?
For sure, yeah. So like I've said a few times, and like what you just said, you entered into an agreement with a lawyer and you signed on an agreement saying you would give them $1,000 retainer in exchange for their business as a lawyer. So that is an agreement between the two of you, and they did not follow through with the agreement, like you said. So therefore, the way that we would go about this is to get your retainer back. It's what we call a civil matter. So you contact a lawyer, like a real lawyer. Like I said, maybe go to one in town, and they can go after them in civil court to present your information that you've just given me to say, hey, this is the agreement that we entered into. This is what's happened, and then they can go after them civilly in court and hopefully get that retainer back for you. This isn't out of not wanting to do anything. I absolutely feel for you, and I understand how frustrating it would be that you've entered into this agreement. You haven't heard back from the lawyer. However, this is a civil matter based on the agreement that you entered into with the law firm and the documents that you signed off on and agreed on spending money in exchange for their services.
Okay, but the law firm doesn't exist. You said you don't have it in your system.
And yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I looked it up online. They do have a web page. I have zero way of validating whether it's a legitimate firm or not. I'm just saying when I type it into our system, nothing comes up. So OPP has never had dealings with this law firm or the person that you've mentioned.
Okay, and like I said, isn't it possible for OPP to make a call to Toronto Police and inquire if this law firm exists in the Toronto area?
So that's not generally what we would do. So if you would like to pursue this civilly, that would be my recommendation, regardless of if this is a legitimate firm or not. You entered into a contract, and it sounds like based on what you've told me, the lawyer did not follow through with that. So, or not lawyer, whatever we're deciding. So it doesn't matter if it's a legitimate firm. It doesn't matter if it's not a legitimate firm, a real lawyer, a fake lawyer. You entered into a contract. Somebody didn't follow through with their end of the contract. So to get your money back, you go through civil court.
Okay, but I entered into a contract with a law firm that potentially doesn't exist, with a lawyer that potentially doesn't exist. So the contract isn't valid because the firm that signed it in conjunction with me don't exist.
Yeah, again, Susan, like I've said a couple times here, I don't have any way of proving that they are or are not a legitimate firm, and I understand your frustration with that. However, regardless, it was an agreement that somebody would give services in exchange for your money, and it sounds like they have not given you those services. Regardless of if they are capable or not of doing so, you entered into this agreement. So,
and how if I was to contact a lawyer for under the civil, if I was to contact a local lawyer to pursue this civilly, who are they supposed to contact when the firm doesn't exist and the person doesn't exist? That is why I'm contacting OPP.
Yeah. So again, like I've said a few times here, the way that you pursue this is civilly. It's up to the law firm that you decide upon. to contact a person or have somebody in Toronto or whatever the case is to then go through with the civil proceedings. Okay?
Can I please request your supervisor to give me a call back?
What questions do you have for them?
I would like to speak with your supervisor in regards to this matter because I don't feel it's being addressed properly.
Okay, so I am the OIC right now, so there's not a supervisor besides me until tomorrow. They're going to tell you the same thing that I've told you. The matter is a civil case. You do need to contact a lawyer if you'd like to move forward and pursue charges civilly. From an OPP standpoint, like there's a report here. I will document that we had this conversation and that I've given you direction on how to move forward. But if there's any questions that you have, like I'm more than happy to answer them if you still don't understand.
Okay, I got 2 questions. What's your badge number?
It's 15226.
15226?
That's correct.
And what is the incident number?
Let me just pull it up here for you, Susan. So the original fraud call that you called in on July 3rd, do you have a pen handy there?
Yep.
So it's E as in Echo, 260-940-492.
Okay. And your last name, how do I spell it?
Cheater, cheater, just like it sounds.
And you're a constable?
Yep.
And you mentioned how you're the AOE, or what does that stand for?
Yeah, so I'm the 2IC on this platoon.
Sorry, you're the what?
2IC, so second in command. So I assist the platoon when there's no sergeants.
Okay. Well, I will be putting in a complaint with the police review board on this because it doesn't seem right that people are allowed to present themselves falsely and defraud individuals, and the OPP aren't able to do anything about it.
Yeah. Like I said, I've kind of explained the procedures for you. I'm sorry that that's not the answer you were looking for. But if there was something more that I could provide you, I absolutely would. But from a police standpoint, yeah, the report's on here. I'll document this information tonight that you've given me based on the conversation we've had. And then, like I said, you know the steps going forward. So I'll leave that up to you.
Is fraud still illegal in Canada?
Yep. So fraud is there is a section in the criminal code for fraud. It depends on the case. Like I said, this one is a civil matter based on the agreement that you entered into. So
okay.
It wouldn't be something that the police would move forward on. It would be a civil matter that you have to go to court with a lawyer for, not that police would go out and arrest and charge someone. They're different circumstances.
And what constitutes fraud? Like what is the definition of fraud?
I don't have the definition of fraud, but you're more than welcome to look up the Criminal Code of Canada and read the section. But based on the case that you have presented me, this is a civil matter, Susan.
Okay. I'm just curious as to what makes it a civil matter versus a criminal matter. I mean,
so
is this fraud?
Several times, so I'm not going to keep going back and forth with you, Susan, okay?
No, actually, you haven't told me what makes it a civil matter. You told me I have to go see a lawyer because it is a civil matter, but you have not explained to me how it is a civil matter.
So
what makes it?
I'll give you this, and I think it might sound familiar. You entered into an agreement with this company. You paid a retainer. They didn't give you the services. Civil.
Okay, so
Do you
how,
have any more questions?
yeah, I do have one more. How is that different from a regular criminal fraud case? What is the difference between a criminal fraud case versus a civil fraud case?
So it would be a case-by-case basis, and based on the information that you have provided me, that you entered into an agreement, you paid $1,000 retainer, the law firm is not providing services, that makes it a civil matter. I can't give you 100 examples of every type of fraud and which type of fraud it's going to be. It would really depend on case by case. This one, the correct procedure for this is to go, and I'm going to recommend based on how this one went, contact a lawyer in person, present them the case, and they will be able to assist you. Okay?
All right. Like I said, I'm going to be contacting the police review board, and
Yeah, that's fine. You're well within your rights to do that if that's what you'd like to do. Was there anything else that I can help you with?
no, I think.
Okay, take care. Okay, bye-bye.
And there you have it. Another example of Kenora's finest. That was a constable with the Kenora Detachment, Ontario Provincial Police. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys what I've been up to over the last little bit. So over the last little bit, I contacted, or I've been kind of, but my Facebook has been kind of, my hair's a total mess here, but my face has been, or sorry, my Facebook has been bombarded with legal ads. And so I contacted one of them. I figured, what the heck, why not? And the law firm that I contacted, hang on a second here, is Garagos Law. So Geragos Law. Now they have a law firm, or they have they have offices in the States, but they also have offices in our office in Toronto, from my understanding. And so I contacted them. I looked up the law firm online. It seemed like a legit firm. There is numerous lawyers listed underneath the firm. And so I figured it was safe, right? So I contacted them. I had a lawyer reach out to me, and I can't do it in this particular video, but I will show you the conversation I had with the law firm. And I also have text messages from the lawyer. I entered into a retainer agreement with this law firm, and I paid them $1,000. After I paid them the $1,000, they got to work on my case. They gave me a case number, and it was interesting because I went down to the Kenora courthouse, and the Kenora courthouse had no listing of that file number, that court file number, which of course raised a lot of red flags for me. So I'm not working right now. So I went down to Legal Aid Ontario, or Ontario Legal Aid, whatever, and I showed them some of the legal documents that were sent to me from the lawyer's office, and they said that there's a lot of red flags with it. And I already knew there was a lot of red flags with it, which is why I started doing a little bit of investigating. One of the things that the law firm said to me was, before they were willing to file the agreement, I would have to send them another $2,000, which, considering the fact that we haven't been to court and they've done next to no work on the case, and I only signed the retainer agreement giving them $1,000 like days before. We're not even talking about a full week before, and they're already asking me for another $2,000. That kind of raised a red flag. So after that, I looked up this lawyer um, at the Ontario Law Society, and he's registered as a lawyer, but a non-practicing lawyer. So how is a non-practicing lawyer practicing? After that, I contacted the law firm, and they blocked me. I contacted this lawyer, and he set up a meeting, but refused to give me the location or any sort of online link to a meeting, a face-to-face meeting, right? Um, so I contacted OPP, and as you can tell, fraud is perfectly acceptable in Canada. OPP will not do anything about it. So, if you're wondering why we have so many online scams in Canada, how private citizens are constantly being defrauded by different entities, it's because they're allowed to get away with it. Um, I'll go into more about this. I still plan on talking about um, going back and talking about my conversation with Greg Rickford and um, talking about what happened on April 13th, 2022. But I've been extremely busy recently, and um, it's summer. I want to enjoy myself, um, and I've been extremely busy. So I am trying to get these videos. I'm going to try to make more of a conscious effort to get these videos up, um, but it may take a little bit of time. Like, um, I am trying to continue on with my life and trying to find some measure of happiness without my family, but um, and this summer actually has it. It actually has been kind of a blessing because I was working for the Ontario government up until last month, and my contract ended. And I'll talk to you all about that in another video. I mean, it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything unexpected. I mean, contracts are usually 6 months, a year long, and mine had already been extended one time, and unfortunately, the contract came to an end. You know, um, unfortunately, when you do contract work, that happens, right? Um, but um, but now I'm on employment insurance. Um, and I don't know if I'll be going back to work, to be honest, because I can't register anymore as a social worker because the College of Social Workers in Manitoba made sure I can't, which prevents me from registering at any other college in Canada. So after my EI runs out, I'm probably going to end up on Ontario Works, which is Manitoba's version of social assistance. Well, it is social assistance, but you know, it's I I said to somebody online today, and um, you know, they were doing this little rant about how gone are the days of people going to school, getting an education, and getting a job. Why do that when you can, just sell drugs on the street and bum around and collect from the government and get all these payouts and stuff? And I just kind of I looked at this and I shook my head and I'm like, you know what? I took out a student loan. I went to school. I graduated. And the government literally made sure I can't work. So why shouldn't I sit around? Like, uh, it's not like I'm not going to look for work, but they've made it that much harder, right? And I'm not going to work a job where I'm flipping burgers or doing some minimum wage job when there are numerous jobs in my field and I'm not able to get any of them because the Manitoba College of Social Workers um, decided to revoke my license because I utilized my right to freedom of speech and expression that is protected under the Canadian Constitution, right? Um, so anyways, um, and I mean that again goes back to how I feel the Canadian government is financially exploiting me because even though I'm not working, um, under um, under the custody order whether I'm working, I could be forced to live off $1 a month, and I'm still obligated to pay 540 whatever it is dollars um, in child support, and I can't afford it. Like, I'm not working right now. So, um, there's that. Anyways, you guys have a good night, and I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. But keep in mind, I am going to put in a complaint with the Police Review Board about this. And please keep in mind that, how many people are defrauded every single day in Canada? And when the police shrug off fraudulent crimes as a civil matter, and I mean, keep in mind, if this is a civil matter, there's no way for a lawyer to locate the person who did the fraud. That is a police matter, and the police have decided that this is not worth pursuing. That um, me as a private citizen is um, is not entitled to the same protections or entitled to protection um, and their services. At least that is how I'm seeing it. I'm looking at it as discrimination from the OPP. And how many more people go through this? Is it a single case of discrimination, or is it the OPP really not doing their job and not following through with fraudulent cases? Anyways, you guys have a good night.